comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So me and my wife are out in fuck knows where we are, 5 hours out of Bangalore it ended up being, in a coffee estate, and I'm podcasting from the little black Suzuki Swift. So if the sound is fucked, that's why. So we're out here and it's absolutely fucking beautiful out here. It's just coffee estates, hills, pepper trees. The air is thin and crisp. It is the perfect environment to do some molly. Molly, molly, molly. 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 We used to know a girl named Molly, and out of 10, she was easily a 2, maybe a 1. She was in between 1 and 2, but she thought she was a 10. She had the attitude of a fucking supermodel, this bitch, and she was far from a supermodel. This is how bad she was. None of me and my friends ever hooked up with her. And that is saying something, because we were not afraid of some 1s and fucking 2s, even a few 0s in there. But just the combination of her attitude and her looks, she was just fucking untouchable. But she was like my housemate's best friend, and she used to come around all the time. And I cannot remember ever having a conversation with her, because as soon as she opened her mouth, all I'd do is, Molly! Molly, 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 Molly! 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 Molly, 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 Molly! And everyone would do it as well. All my mates would do it, would just be going, Molly! Molly, Molly! And here's the thing. Here's how twisted this bitch was. She took it as like a compliment, like we were showing signs of affection. We're like screaming fucking Molly and laughing our heads off, and she's like blushing and looking at the other girls, seeing if they're jealous because she thinks it's a sign of affection or something. She's a twisted bitch. Anyway, no one wants to do that Molly. I'm talking about a different Molly. Some MDMA. Obviously, I'm doing this because of my PTSD. I really need to get control of it. No, I'm doing it because my wife wants to try it, and why fucking not? It's been a big 2 years. We just got to this place, this fucking hotel estate thing. It's so fucking cool, this joint. It's one of the best places I've ever stayed in. But we worked out my wife hasn't spent 2 days away from the kids in like 2 years. And it was beginning to show, to be honest with you. She was starting to get a little bit fucking psychotic. So anyway, here's the game plan. I've got a little noog of MDMA, and I'm going to have to break it in half somehow. I don't know how. There's no utensils to break it in half. Maybe I'll just bite it in half. I don't know. So we're going to take half of that each tonight, maybe around 8 o'clock. My wife's having a few drinks already, back in the room, video calling our kids, because I think she already misses them, which is insane because we left them like 6 hours ago. So we're going to do that tonight. And by the size of this noog, I'm thinking it's like maybe a point each. It could be a little bit more. It's a little bit hard to gauge, but I'm thinking if I saw half this noog in a plastic capsule, I would be like, it's going to be a good night. I can't even remember the last time I was on the googs either, but I'm looking forward to sharing this little experience with my wife. It's going to be nice sharing an experience that doesn't have anything to do with our stupid kids. And the room is nice, like real fucking nice. It only costs $50 a night as well. I'm going to go through and do a fucking tour. Fuck it, I'm going to vlog it. So anyway, let's get back on track. The googs are going down at about 8 p.m. tonight. We'll let the MDMA run its course and then try and get some sleep tonight. And then tomorrow we're going to go look at some fucking temple somewhere. Everyone thinks I'm excited about temples. I'm not fucking excited about temples, but I don't know. You can't just sit around doing googs and acid. So we're going to go see the temple, and I think by about 3 or 4 tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier, we're going to do some acid. Because when we just checked in before, the fucking reception dude threw us a little bit of a fucking curveball, which always happens on acid. So we're speaking to the reception just before when we were checking in, and we're like, can we go for a little walk around the estate? He's like, yeah, go for a little walk around the estate, but as soon as it gets dark, you've got to come back. And we're like, why? And he's like, wild elephants are roaming around, and it's too dangerous to be out at night. And we're like, what? Wild what are roaming around? He's like, these hills are filled with wild elephants. We don't even leave at night. once it's dark, you don't leave the estate. It's too fucking dangerous. And I'm like, that's always good to have in the back of your head when you're doing acid, that you could be approached by some wild fucking elephants. And you're so fucking high, you probably think you're going to tame them, then you get stomped to death, trampled to death. What a way to go out. That would be a Boyle way to go out, actually. Being trampled to death by wild elephants in India on acid. There is something poetic about that, and if I wasn't with my wife, I would probably initiate it. So that is something we need to keep in mind. So I'm like, we'll probably just hang around the coffee estate anyway. That will be cool, yeah? And then the receptionist goes, be very careful around the coffee estate as well, because there's lots of snakes. There's lots of fucking cobras around. And I'm like, we'll probably just stay in the room, yeah? That sounds like a bit of me, just a bit of the fucking room and not leave the room. So the plan is to take the acid tomorrow afternoon, go from day to night. That's always pretty cool. We went to about 500 fucking pharmacists today looking for some Xanax for the come down off the acid, and nothing. You cannot find a fucking Xanny or a fucking Valium in Bangalore. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? You used to be able to just walk up and buy a whole fucking box of it. No prescription, no nothing. But I fucking Googled it and they made it illegal in like 2019. Not 100% illegal, but you need a prescription, you need ID and all this sort of shit to get alprazolam or diazepam. It's just fucking so hard to get. Then we got out of town and we stopped at this place. Hassan. Remember I did that episode about Hassan? We finally made it to Hassan and we started looking around chemists here for some Vels and Xannies. And we finally found a place that had it, but they needed a prescription. They needed all this other bullshit. And the guy wouldn't sell it to me, but he pointed at the hospital. He said, if you go over there, they'll give you a prescription and then I'll give it to you. It's fine. It'll take 2 minutes. So we went over to the hospital. This is no shit. We went to the public hospital, which was fucking packed. And I tried to get a doctor to fucking give me a prescription for some fucking Vel. And they said, no, only psychiatrists can fucking prescribe it to you. But you have to go see a psychiatrist and they have to diagnose you as needing it. And I'm like, fuck this. Can't you just tell I'm retarded? What other fucking idiot would be in Hassan at a fucking public hospital trying to get a prescription for fucking some Xannies? Isn't that enough proof I need some fucking help? But it wasn't, so we haven't got any Xannies or Vels. But they weren't for me anyway, they were for my wife if she needed to get some sleep towards the end of the acid trip. That's what we did last time. I just gave her a couple of Vels and she was out. Now she'll just have to drink herself to sleep at the end of the acid trip. Anyway, that's the game plan. That's what's happening. So I better get back to the room and do some Muller. Wish me luck and I'll report back tomorrow with my findings on the effects of MDMA on PTSD. Alright, that's it for tonight and I'll see ya the fuck later.